Welcome back to the Armchair Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Coach Sheffer, and we have another great guest today. We have Bill Shafer, no relation, who is the representative for the Launch Pad Kickoff Tee. Thank you for coming on to the podcast.
You're welcome. Good to be here, Coach.
Awesome. Now, the first thing that I ask every guest that comes on is I'm oddly fascinated by everybody's story because we all have a interesting, background. And so what I'd like to know is, can you tell us about your football background, and then basically tell us about your journey, how you eventually ended up to where you are today?
Wow. Yeah, I'd be happy to, Coach. And thanks for the opportunity. By the way, I did get here today through Coach Anthony Stone. Okay. He directly hooked me up with you, and very impressed. You're an aspiring coach or a coach that's in the business. Definitely check out Coach Anthony Stone and Back to the Basics. His book series can help you with certification, and it can improve your knowledge and improve your certification. So check that out. When I graduated from high school, I was 100%, and I loved football. I still love football. Football is like everything, and then there's life. And it's always been that way for me. But as a 105-pound senior at a football school, I don't know how much success I was going to have playing football, and I didn't. In fact, I joined the Navy and was further and further away from football, but I love to kick a football always, Coach, and it's something that no matter how big you are, no matter where you come from or what level you are, 100 yards is still 100 yards. You know what I mean? And so that levels the playing field. So it's really you against yourself, and that's what I love about kicking. So I continued to kick in the Navy and got out, and that was back in the 80s when the Cleveland Browns had 3 kickers that year. They just could not find someone to kick a football for them. So I thought I'd go try out. That didn't work out. But what did work out is I got a ride at Akron University of Akron. I played there for 1 year with Coach Faust from Notre Dame. Remember him, Coach? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember the name. Yep.
Yeah. Coach Faust was a legendary high school football coach from Cincinnati Moeller, went to Notre Dame, straight out of Moeller as the head coach of Notre Dame, and he did okay for 5 years. Then he went to Akron U, and I played for him. And but I had to quit after 1 year because I was a fireman, and they sent me to paramedic school. So that was it. I couldn't go to college anymore. I had a wife, but I still loved to kick. So I went to Ray Pelfrey's kicking camp back then, and I got better and better and better. Played a little semi-pro. Long story short, I got here to Massillon, Ohio, home of the Tigers. We are in the state championship this Friday night, and go Tigers. We're looking for a victory. But when I went to Massillon, I became a coach there for 2 years, coached kickers and punters. And at that time, we developed Launch Pad Kickoff Tee. That was almost 10 years ago. And we've been working it out and finally got patented. We got legalized for high school and for college. And we're ready to go. So now I'm coaching here locally with some kids that I have. And then also we have camps that we're doing throughout the U.S.
Awesome. Yeah, I was able to check out your website and do a little bit of background research. And I mentioned before we started recording the podcast, there's a video of you demonstrating the Launch Pad Tee. And I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but I said, man, I'm really impressed with how well he's able to kick that ball. And the reason I say that is because I'm 28 and I have not so great hamstrings. And so I'm not able to kick a ball very well. But could you kind of take some time to describe to the listeners what exactly is the Launch Pad Kickoff Tee?
I'd be happy to, Coach. I have a couple of tees here and a couple of balls to demonstrate. This is, you don't see this tee very much. You ever see this thing? This is from Under Armour. Mm-hmm. This is called the Kick 6, okay? And it's basically all tees for the last 25 years are based on the same principle, and that is this cup holds the ball. Can you see that okay? And see how the ball sits down in that cup?
Right.
Right? And that's basically the set. The Ground Zero has this. The Triplex has this. Skills Tee has this. The Kick 6 also has this. I don't want to say Pick 6, but anyway, it's the Kick 6. The Launch Pad Kickoff Tee is completely different. You've seen this, yes, Coach?
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, I see that.
Okay. Okay, so this is flexible. Gotcha. This is flexible, right? Not only is it flexible, it's designed to not only simulate the set of the other tees if you're kicking this direction,
Okay.
right? This will simulate and duplicate the set of any other tee, but it also will give you a forward lean. And this is what people are really talking about. That's like driving down Main Street. Can you see the entire ball? Note how you can see that from the top all the way to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And so what this does is this tee, because of these hyper flexible fins, this allows more ball set angles than any tee out there. That's important. And the reason it's important is because with every tee, you get a unique ball set chart. Hope that's in frame. Okay. And what this does is this demonstrates a range or the common set of the old tee, the ground zero, and all the other tees that are out there. Then it shows the varieties that you have, especially this dial-in squib. This dial-in squib set, you can get a coarse roller, you can get a fine roller, you can do so many different things. That's what makes the Launch Pad different, is that it gives you the widest array of angle settings in 360 degrees, more than any other tee that's out there.
So basically it's more flexible and you have many more options with the kickoff than you would have with the next leading brand.
Correct. And in fact, I'll say it this way, Coach. If you're a coach, if you're a high school coach, and you don't necessarily have the greatest kicker, but you got a guy who wants to do this, this tee gives you more strategic options for kickoffs than any tee out there because of the different angle sets. Brandon Kornblue calls this the best onside and squib kickoff tee he has ever seen, and it's true. And so if you're a coach that doesn't necessarily have a kicker, this is a very, very strong option that nearly anyone can step into and become strategically a very proficient kicker. But then in addition to that, if I may, this forward lean, not only can you see the sweet spot, let me do this right, Coach. Not only can you see the sweet spot way more readily, what this does is a backward lean. I don't know if you'll see this. You can see this on the YouTube video. I demonstrate this more aptly. But when you're kicking this way, the segment of the trajectory of your foot that goes through the ball is shorter with the backward foot. That segment of contact, right? If you're coming through here, it's a longer segment here. That transfers more power into the ball, and the ball is getting greater hang time and greater distance. And we have video after video demonstrating that. It's amazing.
Yeah, I actually coach our kickoff team here at Brentsville, and I honestly could tell you I don't know a whole lot about kicking. And so I feel like I don't have the expertise to teach these kids, especially since I am going to be completely honest with you. I had never heard of a forward lean before.
I'll tell you where we came up with that. You're too young. I don't know if you were even born yet, but back in the 90s, there was a kicker from Pittsburgh named Gary Anderson. You remember him?
I think I've heard of the name before.
Yeah, he had a single bar face mask. It looked crazy. And his helmet looked but anyways, this guy was one of the first guys to get near 90% or above on field goals, and he was amazing. And we noticed that on his field goals, he was leaning the ball forward. And we just were looking at that. We were so puzzled. It's like, why? Why is he doing this? Same thought that you're having. It's the reason. It gives you greater power transfer, greater distance, greater hang time. And because of that, a kicker can relax into their stroke, and it creates better consistency, a more consistent, relaxed, and confident stroke. It's amazing. And so there was no kickoff tee out there that would allow a forward lean. Really what allows the forward lean is these great fins that are hyper flexible. They hold the ball up, but they get right out of the way. As soon as the ball leaves the tee, they're right out of the way. And it's an amazing thing that allows a forward lean. And kickers legitimately, we have a kicker here in Akron, just signed a letter of intent with Howard University. His name is Dylan West, and we're very, very excited for Dylan. But his dad bought him a Launch Pad Kickoff Tee. And Dylan said, I don't think that there's any difference between kickoff tees. What's a tee going to do? So we went and visited Dylan and his dad at the high school and brought him a Launch Pad Kickoff Tee. And we put it out on the field and had him kick off his tee. And he did what he normally does. Then we put the launch pad out there, and he got 10 yards instantaneously on the first kick. And I turned to his dad and I said, that's not me. I'm not making this up, right? And his dad just stood there scratching his head, could not believe it. This guy's now going to Howard University, and that's really what we're all about, is helping kickers get to their next level by finding their best kicks that they've ever had in their life.
You mentioned something about camps. Could you go into detail with the camps that you're going to be offering?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that, Coach. Currently, what we're doing is we're going to other people's camps. We've been invited to. We're very excited. January 2nd, we're going to Dallas Cowboys AT&T Stadium, where we'll be part of National Kicking Rankings event, where they'll have 70 of the top kickers from around the country going through their camp. It's a wonderful experience for the kids because they get to be in the big time. And that's a big thing. When you're used to kicking out in a pasture in the fields of Ohio like I am, right? And then you get a chance to go to AT&T Stadium, you've got to take advantage of that because that does something to your head. And it puts you in a place where you can draw on that mental knowledge and really become your best inside of you. And that's really where it all happens anyway. So we're doing that. Then we're going to the Indianapolis Colts facility in March with the National Scouting Combine with Beyond Sports. We're very excited about that. And we're lining up other camps that are asking us to come and be a part and demonstrate this on field for them. Doing that for us is Anthony Prevost. This guy is amazing. Third year in the indoor football league. He's still working on his degree from Hampton University, his master's, that is. And he's getting there. But he's doing all of our kickoff demos for our camps. And our new camp, which is coming out within the next 6 months, is the Kickoff Boot Camp. And we're very excited about this camp because the Kickoff Boot Camp is dedicated to one thing, and it's a game-changing play, potentially, that a lot of coaches overlook because they're busy, strategizing with defense and offense in the game and the whole thing. But a kickoff can change the game. And so Kickoff Boot Camp is basically a game-changing kicking camp that will be coming very, very soon.
That's awesome stuff, Coach. Now I had a couple questions. I didn't write these down on the question list that I sent you before.
All right.
But, you seem very knowledgeable about kickoffs, obviously. And I'm interested because I'm supposed to be coaching kickoffs again this year. We really don't have a kid who can boot it into the end zone every time, at least not consistently. And we have been focusing a lot on squib kicks. What are your, I guess the question I'm trying to ask is what are your favorite types, what are your favorite techniques of kicking, squib versus onside? And you've seen a lot of newer onside kicks in the NFL, they got that little side knuckleball that they tried that the Falcons were able to get on the Cowboys. But what are your favorite types of kicks? What are some that you teach specifically? I know it's kind of a broad question, but
great question.
Yeah. So what are some of your favorite types of kicks to teach?
Let's start right here, Coach, and this is very, very important. In high school, you're kicking from the 40-yard line. If you attempt an onside kick and fail, you're basically at the 50 or the other 45, which is not that bad. It's not that bad. In fact, when you really calculate where most kickoffs end up, if they're kicked deep and returned, it's probably about the 25 to 35-yard line. You're only giving up 10 to 15 yards for an attempt at having the ball. So philosophically, unless you bury the ball and you want to give the ball up, and you got a kicker that can do that, you should do a squib kick every single time. I mean it. And this tee is designed to help you with that, especially if you're a coach that doesn't have a great kicker, and you do have the responsibility of kicking off. You have the ball when you're kicking off, right? So if you can squib it down the middle one time, and your guys know you have control and you have the knowledge to know where it's going. And this tee, for instance, Coach, I love this. Please, if you're a coach, you should order one of these tees just to get this chart, okay? This Do you golf at all?
No.
You know
But
about golfing.
yeah, I know about it. Yeah.
What I do to a golf course, they never want to let me back. I get my money every time. This is a wedge shot.
Okay.
It's a wedge. So by setting the ball, I hope I'm not wasting your time with this, Coach. I'm just so excited about it. But by putting the ball this way, leaning it forward, grazing the top of the on-ramp with your toe or your kick spot, catching the bottom of the ball, this creates rapid backspin that goes about 15 yards.
Okay.
And when you direct that towards your opposition, they don't know what to do with this hot potato. It's a hot potato coming at them that they did not anticipate, because your kicker came there at full speed and put his full kick into this, and it only went 15 yards with a backspin. You direct this. This is one of my favorites, because if you direct this at another team, they don't know what to do. Especially the guys up front, they don't know what to do with this thing. It goes right over their head. A wedge kick. I love the wedge kick. But then also kick the ball near the please work on your long distance kickoff, because that's what's going to get you a scholarship if you're a kicker. Okay, but in the meantime, strategically for a coach, man, you start hitting the top of this ball, leaning forward or our sideways leans like this. You come through like that. Well, I guess for a right-footed kicker, it would be like this. What kind of squib do you think you're going to get with this? And you cannot do this with other tees. That's the thing. So this tee allows you to do crazy squibs, whether it's a coarse roller or a fine roller. It's like a hot potato that jumps back and forth. This tee lets you do many things that other tees won't let you do. So I hope that answers your question. My favorite too. Okay, you should be, to summarize, you should be onside kicking or squib kicking every kickoff. It's a 15-yard risk. Well worth it, because you're going to get 30 to 40% of those you're going to get. That's a turnover, man. You can create turnovers by risking 15 yards. Do that. Then do the wedge. Get yourself a ball chart. Do the wedge, and then look at the middle, which shows you for a left-footed or a right-footed kicker how to dial in the squib kicks to give you a strategic advantage. If you're not doing this, now I'll be a little direct. If a coach that is not necessarily a kicking kind of a guy is not doing this with this, you're just not serious about your kickoffs. And this is a game changer.
Well, that's awesome. We've been a big squib team. That's pretty much what we've done for the last 2 years. And I've been constantly trying to get my head coach on board. Like, hey, can we do onside? Come on, just let me do onside one time. Like, come on, let's just do it. And he's like, I don't want to risk it.
15-yard risk.
I know. And I would love to do more onside. I'd love to be 50% onside and then the rest squib, because they never know exactly what you're going to do.
Yes.
And if you practice it a lot and you get good at it, you can get those turnovers, just like you said.
Yeah, there's a coach in Texas, a high school coach. It's very famous. His name escapes me right now, but he's very serious about this. He wins state championship after state championship. Never just hand the ball over, ever. You have a strategic advantage if you just pay a little bit of attention, just a little bit, and it's a game changer. It's a season changer.
So for those coaches who are listening and they're very interested in your product, how can they contact you? Is there a website or is there an email? How can they best contact you about purchasing your product?
Yeah, thank you for that. Our website is www.launchpadkickoff.com. Okay, so it's easy to get to, Launch Pad Kickoff Tee. You can also find us on Twitter, which a lot of high school coaches are on Twitter, just Launch Pad Kick Tee. Just look us up. We're there. We'd love for you to reach out to us. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, our website. On YouTube, just look up Launch Pad Kickoff Tee, and you'll see we have many videos. We have videos on transitioning from your old tee into the launch pad, and then we have Squib City. I highly recommend that for you, Coach. Squib City is done indoor last year by me, demonstrating these techniques that I'm telling you. It's amazing what happens with the ball, and it works every time.
Awesome. Well, I won't take up too much more of your time, but I really appreciate you coming onto the podcast to talk about the Launch Pad Kickoff Tee.
My pleasure, my pleasure. And just as a reminder, be sure to check out, this is great information. This will really work for your team, but be sure to check out Coach Anthony Stone, Back to the Basics. This guy's material is real. He lives and breathes football, and he's technically minded, but he's passionate about what he does. Highly recommended.
And I concur, because I had Coach Stone on the podcast, and his episode should be coming out soon as well. And man, I could just tell this guy knows football. He's a football junkie. And I haven't personally read his books, but just the reviews that I've seen, and I've listened to other coaches talking about it. It's amazing stuff, amazing quality stuff. And he was the one who led me to you, directly to you. And I really appreciate him for doing that. And I appreciate you again. And so, guys, this has been the Armchair Coaching Podcast. This is Coach Sheffer signing off.